Welcome to In Touch with Officer Dawn and Ray the DA. I am your host, Allison Beck. And today on In Touch, Officer Dawn and Ray the DA discussed a very interesting rape case, where the victim in the case is being told by the judge that she is not allowed to use the words rape, sexual assault, or victim in her rapist trial. If you would like to hear more about this, continue listening. Thank you for listening, and please join us next week.
Victim-oriented thing that just infuriates me. This is a judge who has said this woman was sexually assaulted, and once her case came to trial, and this is someplace else, it's not in Kentucky, but when her case came to trial, the judge barred her from using words like rape or sexual assault in the trial to protect the rights of the man who raped her. Mm-hmm. And she couldn't figure out, what am I supposed to say? That I had sex with this guy? That meant, and what does that sound like? Consensual sex, right? So I don't get it. It's the rights of these defendants are trumping the rights of innocent victims, law-abiding citizens, and what we also call taxpayers and voters. But the voters aren't getting the message yet. Most people in Lexington, Kentucky, 10% of the people in Lexington, Kentucky know who their representative is or their senator is. And when you get past that.
Well, I've dealt with the situation like you're talking about as a witness in cases before. What happens there is when you're told that you can't talk about certain things that are fact. Like, for instance, I had a guy one time that I interviewed in jail for trying to kill someone, and he was already in jail. But the judge decided that I could not mention that his interview was taking place in jail. And I had no choice but to interview him there. And I sort of get that point, except what happened is it made me look shady to the jury because I was having to leave key parts out of our conversation to protect that particular fact. And as a jury, you sit there and you go, why is this detective not telling us the whole story? Well, I'm not telling the whole story because I was told not to by the judge. But it tends to make me, and the defense, if they're smart and evil, they will actually use that.
Smart and evil.
Yes, they have a way of spinning that and making it look like that you're being shady. So as a witness, it can really hurt your credibility. And the same if she's on the stand and she's wanting to tell her story, and all she's wanting to do is say the facts, like specifically how this rape occurred, then she should be able to do that. Juries are smart enough to make decisions. That's the point. Jurors are very smart, and they would appreciate just knowing the facts and not having the facts manipulated or spoon-fed to them in a way that they really can't figure out the context of what's going on. But those, you know what? Those are that's rules of trial. I never understood. I just follow the rules. That's what I do.
Well, a lot of times we'll get what's called a mistrial. And that is, you got to stop the trial in the middle of it because somebody has said something that they're not supposed to say because we don't want to interfere with the criminal's rights, they say. And that's for example, I stopped a car, a police officer will say something like, I stopped the car, and of course I always, once I find out who's in the car, I go back and check on the in-car computer, and I realized that there was a warrant for this guy. Mm-hmm. Now, what does that tell you?
Well, I know I probably wouldn't be able to testify.
That's exactly right. And when he said that, the judge says, would the lawyers approach the bench?
Yeah.
And we go up there, and he says, well, he said something he's not supposed to say, which is true.
Well, sort of, except from a police officer's perspective.
No. I'm talking about from the police officer's perspective.
He just said
what he said
is
true.
What he said was a fact. But then what can happen if he leaves that part out, then I'm telling you, the right defense attorney will make it sound like in closing that the officer stopped the guy, you know,
For no reason.
or detained him, and you're like, I had a reason. I ran it, but you can't say it. So that's where sometimes you're, as a jury, you're sitting there trying to figure out, well, why are they leaving out? It's not always as it seems, and it's a we call it a minefield. When you're a cop having to testify, you're walking through a minefield because, listen, you don't want to be the reason there's a mistrial, because I'm going to have to hear that from you back at the office, first of all. And you can be very colorful in your language.
Oh,
You've
now.
done something to cause a mistrial. I've been there. So and I'm like, oh, he's going to kill me. But and the victim, you know, they're sitting there going, wait, we got to start this all over again because you said the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just a lot of pressure. And you know, I've been there, and it really, that's the biggest stress for me about testifying. It's not getting up there and just telling the truth. That's easy. I'll just tell what happened. But all the little minefields
You got little limitations.
make sure that you don't do anything you ought to not do, even though it doesn't make any sense half the time. But like if you got somebody that's, you know, been convicted of murder before, and he's being tried for murder again, Lord have mercy on your soul if you accidentally mention the fact that he was a suspect because, well, there was someone killed in that neighborhood 6 years ago and he was just released, so I thought I'd go back and see where he was. Oh, that's not going to do it.
Yeah.
You're done. We'll see you next week on it.